Nobody tells you just how hard it is to change your habits and to improve your life. It's very frustrating. Everybody loves the before and after pictures. Everybody loves talking about discipline. Everybody loves, the quotes of, "We'll embrace the grind," right? The hustle culture. You gotta trust the process. David Goggins, stay hard. But what does all that actually look like when you're in the middle of it? Right? Because I'm currently on day 15. And I'm trying to get this 6 months transformation. I missed my jog yesterday. I missed it the day before that. And strangely enough, those 2 missed runs, they've taught me a lot, right? The mindset that comes from the loss seems to be more beneficial sometimes than if it all goes easy. Because I'm starting to understand, the difference between, just wanting a better life, a different life, and actually becoming the man that's capable of living that life. And those are 2 very different things. So, I already know what to do, right? Like, conceptually, yeah, it makes sense. It's easy on paper, but I guess that's kind of the weird thing, right? The weird thing is I know I should exercise, that I should be eating a certain amount of calories, a certain amount of proteins. I know I should pray. I know that I should be reading. I should be spending time with my family. I should sit down and, budget better and manage my money. I know that I should spend more time at work, right? Getting better at my job. Same thing with my community. I know I should be dedicating more time to building what I want, and I need to stop wasting time. So, just shows that knowledge isn't really the problem. And I think most people know that. A lot of us, we know what we should be doing. However, the difficult part isn't knowing what we should be doing. It's actually bridging the gap between knowing what you should be doing and actually executing it, right? That coexistence inside of that difference, right? You need to fill it to create that one life that you want. So if you don't know, I've got a beautiful wife that I love. I've got kids that I adore. I've got a career that I enjoy. I've got a lot of responsibilities. I'm trying to build this community, Order of Pillars. I'm trying to get deeper in my faith, trying to improve my body, trying to record these videos, right? Upload them. Eventually need to learn how to edit. If you notice, I don't have any editing because I don't know how to do it. And there's more. It could go on and on, but I've only got 24 hours in a day, and so something is always pulling at your attention. So the last couple days, I've been really hyper focused at work. And I'm trying to assess, trying to improve and implement the systems that I have. and I'm checking and improving procedures. All right, I'm trying to get the workflow going and to be more streamlined. Because, becoming better at what I do at work, well, it's obviously a good thing. We should all be doing that. But while I push very hard in that area, well, then naturally something else starts to slip. In this case, it's the fitness that I've been really trying to focus on, and it's very frustrating because I want it all. I think we can all, we all have something like that feeling of, I want more. I want to be just well-rounded in everything. And I want to be physically strong. I want to be spiritually strong. I want to be financially successful. I want deeper knowledge on things. I want to excel at being a husband, be exemplary of being a father, somebody that my kids can look up to. I want to be an outstanding leader, right? Especially as I read on, Alexander the Great, and Napoleon, and Charlemagne, and all these amazing men. I want to be a builder, right? I want to build things, right? Something that is a legacy, and I don't want to choose mediocrity, in just one area. I want to succeed in everything. So, I say all that basically to say that, I'm learning. This is the fun thing, my ambition might be enormous. It might be bigger than I can chew. But my time and attention clearly are limited. And that means that I have to learn what areas give me the biggest leverage, right? What should take priority? How to schedule, how to build and implement better systems in my life. And sometimes how to access that knowledge, or how to just accept that today's priority isn't going to be the same thing that I should prioritize tomorrow, right? That's a skill that I think most of us need to learn. So right now, I'm on the road of learning it myself. So the old version of you, it's still there. And I'm discovering that you can say, right? You can announce to the world, I'm gonna change my life, right? I'm gonna be somebody. That's great. It is, truly is. But you have to accept that the old version of you just doesn't disappear. Like, you say this statement, and all of a sudden the old version of you packs up his bags and leaves. No, he hears this and he doubles down. You ain't getting rid of me. Yeah, I ain't going nowhere. I've gotten comfortable here. So, that's the guy inside of your head that whispers those things. It's hot, man. You've done a lot today. You don't need to do that. Just do it tomorrow. It's one that's like, no, man, I'm tired. Oh man, you've done so much. You don't have the time to do that today. Hey man, you've earned, to have a nice large meal. Don't worry about tracking it. have a beer, right? Just sit down and watch a little bit of TV, right? It's okay. You've earned it. all those little sweet nothings. That's the old you trying to get you to accept, to stay that mediocre person. And look, it's a pear tree. That's cool. And, I have to accept that I'm still that man. As much as I don't want to be. And I'm going to continue to work on not being. But that's the struggle. That's the duality that makes change difficult. So I'm trying to become somebody who the default behavior is not what it is right now. And it's not going to happen because I decided to watch a motivational video or whatever. It happens from choice after choice and making those boring decisions day in, day out. Doing the thing that you would normally not do. It's almost like when you hear that voice inside your head saying, nah, don't worry about it, right? Just enjoy a bigger meal, right? Don't do the exercise. Don't go for the jog. Don't read a book. Just scroll, right? I know your alarm just went off and you're supposed to be going to sleep, but just scroll for a little longer. When you hear that voice, do the exact opposite of that voice and you will succeed. Because you're literally choosing the exact opposite of what that man that you currently are and that you don't want to be anymore, you're choosing the opposite of, and you're starving that person. So, you have to consciously obviously look at things. What do I do when the alarm goes off? Okay, I know I need to do this. What should I schedule? What's most priority? Something needs to be sacrificed. All right, clearly it should be the most useless thing, scrolling on my phone, watching TV, playing video games for 3 hours, drinking that beer, whatever it is. So basically, just none of those decisions, they don't look life-changing in that moment. But if you stack them up over time, and they grow, and then they change the person that you are, right? You make that choice. And here's something else that I think about. It's that it seems chaos is just incredibly easy to fall into, right? To create in our lives. You can gain weight super quick. At least I can. I don't know if you can. I know there are guys out there that they will eat anything and everything and they don't gain any weight. But there's a lot of dudes like me who you look at a donut and you gain a few pounds. So, but losing it, that's a whole different story. That takes some time. You can spend $1,000 in one afternoon, right? If I'm thinking about it in money terms, you give somebody $1,000, I could go and burn $1,000 super fast. But then turn around and ask them to save $1,000, and that's gonna now take several months. All right, it's gonna take sacrifice. You can stop praying today. I'm just busy. I'm not gonna pray. Right? But to build a deep spiritual prayer routine and a deep relationship, that takes years of diligent, just non-stop trying and praying and sacrificing yourself. And I know we've all done it. You're probably doing it right now. You can spend 2 hours scrolling. You don't even notice. Sure, we've all been there, right? Where you are on your phone. That's how you know I'm speaking some truth here. Just make a little money while who needs to be monetized on YouTube? Go out for a walk. The world monetizes you. Just pick up some change. What was I saying? Oh, about scrolling. Yeah. You can easily scroll hours, not even notice it. But if somebody starts telling you, well, hey, read this book, and then actually understand, what it's talking about, right? It's complexities. You ain't doing that in a few hours, right? It takes effort. It takes genuine effort and time to slowly, digest it and try to really understand it. So, yeah, I went off just kind of on a rant there, but yeah, that's what I'm noticing. It's an uncomfortable reality that destruction is super easy, super fast. Construction, however, it's much slower. And that's why changing your life almost feels unfair, right? That you're trying to correct decisions that, might have been compounding for years, and you're not necessarily going to reverse them in the same amount of time that it took to create them. And that's fine. That's okay. Because the goal isn't to try to magically fix your entire life, right? Every decision that you've ever made, tonight, tomorrow, next week. Right? The goal is to look into the future, idealize the type of man that you want to become, and then slowly start chipping away to expose the man that's inside and just reveal him to the world. But it takes work. Again, that idea of, man, you gotta love the process. Clearly what it really means is, that I guess you need to start enjoying the hardship, right? When you start going through things and you realize, man, this sucks. And I'm frustrated because I've been working out for the last X amount of time, and I've been dieting and doing all this other stuff, and then I step on the scale and I don't see any difference. I look in the mirror and I don't see any difference. Then slowly start losing ambition, right? Or motivation. Man, I don't want to keep doing this. Clearly it's not working. Prefer to just sit down, take it easy, have a beer, and relax. Yeah, I could be at work learning and improving things and trying to get to the next level, or I could just choose to sit down and not do anything, right? Scroll on my phone for a little while. You start thinking, how the hell am I supposed to fit all these different things that I have in my head into my life when I already have difficulty doing the basics that I have now? So I guess maybe loving the process doesn't mean enjoying every moment. Maybe it means just learning to value what the struggle is doing to you. And having that mind change, that mind shift. When you realize that, if I'm struggling with something, then it means that I'm discovering an area that I need to grow in, right? It's not easy because I've never been here before. And I need to enjoy that pushback that life gives you. So, anyways, I'm gonna wrap it up there. I'm just out on my walk, talking and thinking and just kind of expressing what I've been thinking about and some of the frustrations that I've had. But the most important thing is, thinking into the future. Right? The man that I want to be, not at day 15, but at day 180, right? When I think of that man, I want to look different, right? I want to be leaner, I want to be strong, I want to be more athletic, healthy, but it's not actually the biggest transformation that we should be aiming for, that you should be aiming for if you're going through anything like this. I personally want to become a man with systems, because what good is it if you could wake up tomorrow the type of body that you'd want, or whatever it is, right? The amount of money that you want, the woman of your dreams, whatever your ideal is. If you could wake up tomorrow and it happens, but you are not the type of man, you don't have the habits and the systems in place to maintain that, right? That makes that woman want to stay with you, that makes the money, grow, that you learn how to cultivate it, how to manage it. Your body. You have magically woken up tomorrow and you are now a fit athlete. You have 7% body fat and whatever type of ideal body you want. But you never learned how to eat healthy, how to exercise, how to manage your stress, how to drink water instead of soda, whatever these little things are that get you there. You will, in a very short period of time, end up exactly where you are right now. Why? Because you're not the person that you are or that you want to be, because you don't have the systems in place. You don't have the rituals. You don't have the habits. You don't have the structure that you need. So, I think that's something that we should all focus on. And honestly, this is becoming a huge part of why I'm building what I'm building, right? My community, the Order of Pillars. It's because I don't think men need just some dude online screaming at them, right? Some Andrew Tate sitting there. Well, the Matrix. You don't need some guy yelling at you and telling you to work harder, the hustle culture. The problem is you ain't working hard enough. Whatever it is. We already know all that. We are inundated with the same message from all angles. But I think what the average man needs, what we need is structure. We need is systems, standards. We need that accountability. We need to have stronger faith and to surround ourselves with other men that are trying to fight the same battles. And we're all trying to become the best versions of ourselves. So, yeah, I'm testing all of this on myself first. Right? I'm not standing here saying, well, just look at me and I figured everything out. I have a Bugatti. I make this amount of money every month. Right? What's wrong with you? Why don't you just get online? Make $1 million a month. You know, because clearly I haven't. And that's the point of these videos, right? The reason I post all this stuff. You know, I'm trying to document the process that I'm going through. Trying to show how I'm figuring it out as I go. You know, clearly we're going to see things that work. We're going to see things that don't work. And obviously I want to be as transparent and honest as possible and show you my victories, my failures, what requires adjustments. I want to show it all. And be an open book. And God willing, 6 months from now, we're going to find out how much a regular, ordinary man can change when he deliberately and consistently decides that I don't want to stay where I currently am. So if you're frustrated, like I am, if you're been trying to change, want to change, and you know, you realize that you're just not very good at being the person that you're trying to become, good. Good. Don't run from that feeling. Right? You have found the battlefield that you need to stay in. So good job. Proud of you for that. Now, let's train. Right? Let's become strong enough so you enter that battlefield again and you own it. And then we find the next battlefield. We realize we're weak in that area and we train. And then we demolish that one. So, anyways, this is day 15. I will see you guys at the end of this transformation. Ricardo, I will see you at the end of this transformation. And don't let me down. All right, strength and honor till the end.